Hello! Hi friends! How are you? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I am Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley, where we like to read Riley, not take ourselves too seriously, and have some fun with books. And today we're doing the Anti-Tbr book, Tag!
2, 3, funky!
This original tag was created by Nicole and her books. I will link her video down below for this. So this is a tag that is very popular on BookTube. I've thought about doing it for a long time, but I never actually got to it. It's a tough one because you don't want to piss people off, you know, and I don't like shitting on books, but I think we all have specific tastes, and there are certain things that fall outside of the range of those tastes. And, you know, there's no harm in stating that. So that we're just gonna go for it today. I want to start this with a disclaimer saying that I maybe can be talked into some of these. This is not an end-all be-all. This is just kind of like my ignorant opinion of these books. You know, some of these things I just don't know all that much about, and whatever I've heard of them isn't enough to have drawn me in. I mean, if you want to try to convince me to read some of these, then you go ahead and go for it. There's no guarantees that I'm going to actually listen to you though. So let's get into it. Question number 1. A popular book that everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. And for this, I'm going to say probably Circe? Yeah, I am gonna say Circe, or there's another one like Achilles, something about Achilles, that all of the Greek mythology retellings that are coming out that are just crazy right now and have been in the last year, I'm just not interested in it. I don't know why. I really liked Greek mythology when I learned about it in school. I remember in 5th grade learning about Greek mythology and just being really into it and thinking it was really cool. But for whatever reason, as far as my reading goes, zero interest whatsoever. Stop pushing it on me. Like, I don't want to read it. I just don't. I'm sure it's great, I'm sure it's fine, but like, I'm not into the Greek mythology. I just don't want it in my reading. A classic book or author that you have no interest in reading from. Okay, for this one, I think I'm gonna say Hemingway. The reason for that is I've actually read some Hemingway. I took a Hemingway class in college. I was really excited. I got into it. We were gonna read all these Hemingway books, and I was like, I'm so smart and literate, and I hated it. I hated his writing, I hated his books, and then I learned more about him as a person and absolutely disdain him as a person. So no, I will not be reading any more Hemingway. That one you cannot talk me into. Number 3, an author whose books you have no interest in reading. Oh, okay, and this one also you can do 3.2, a problematic author. You can do either one or both that you have no interest in reading. Obviously, everyone says the same for this. Not everyone, but a majority of people that I've seen say J.K. Rowling. That goes to stand for me as well. She's problematic, and I can't support her for that. But another author, let's see, that I just happen to not have any interest in reading. Oh, you know what? I would say some of those like really popular authors that are in like every grocery store, every, you know, like the Dan Browns, the Danielle Steeles. Yeah, not interested in those. Just not interested. Nope. Not gonna happen. Another author that I just do not want to read and never will read is Kristen Hanna. Stop trying to get me to read Kristen Hanna. I don't want to read Kristen Hanna. I don't want drama. I don't want tears. I want happiness. I want fantasy. I want speculative. I do not want Cry Me a River historical fiction. It's not you guys. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Number 4. An author you have read a couple of books from and have decided their books are not for you. Oh, that is a really tough one. Oh gosh. I think I'm gonna go with one that I've only read one book from, but that I definitely will not be reading more of their stories because I was so incredibly disappointed, and that was If I Disappeared, or If You Disappeared, I think, by Eliza Jane Brazier. And I think she has another book coming out this year or next year. But I was so disappointed by this book. I thought the concept was great, but the execution was terrible, which does not make me want to read from them again. So I probably will not be reading from them again. Another book that did the same thing for me was The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins, which that might be a little bit controversial. But yeah, I really don't have any interest in reading any more from Rachel Hawkins either, but if you guys have any suggestions for books of hers that you like, I mean, considering that I didn't like The Wife Upstairs, but I also kind of was biased against that because I knew it was a Jane Eyre retelling and I didn't like how the retelling was. So if I hadn't known that, I may have liked it better. Number 5, a genre you have no interest in or a genre you tried and couldn't get into. Historical fiction is one of them. I hate just historical fiction, but what I can do is historical fiction if it has a different element in it, a fantastical element, a sci-fi element, if it has time travel or something like that, I'm there for it. But, and also I can do historical romance because I like Regency romance stuff. So that kind of has some areas that can change. Now, another genre that I'm just really not into is contemporary, especially hard-hitting contemporary. I'm not into it. I can't go into a book knowing that I'm going to cry about it or be very, it's going to emotionally mess me up. If it does do that, I want it to be because I love the character so much, and I'm sure a lot of hard-hitting contemporaries are that, but I just cannot make myself go into it with that expectation, which I feel like is kind of the whole point of that genre. I'm also not really into memoirs or biographies, but I guess that depends on the person that it's talking about. I love Lucy book because I love Lucille Ball, so that also can change depending on who it's about. Let's see, what's the next question? Number 6. A book you have bought but will never read. This could be a book you have unhauled or returned to the library unread. One that I did buy that I've already unhauled is Shuggie Bain. Shuggie Bain. I bought it because one of my in-person book clubs, my friend Amy, picked it because it was her turn to pick, and then she decided she didn't want to read it. And I'm like, well, I didn't want to read this either, but I bought it because you wanted to read it and I wanted to respect your choice. But no! So then I had this book and I had zero interest in reading it, so I got rid of it. Yeah, that one is another one that's just it's like a little life. I'm not into it. I don't want to go into these I'm not attracted to getting upset. I want to be sucked in for another reason and then get upset. I know that doesn't seem to make much sense, but it's just how my brain works. Okay, number 7, a series you have no interest in reading or a series you started and have DNF'd. Oh my gosh. A series. You know, for this question, I'm probably gonna have to go with some kind of adult fantasy. It seems lately that a lot of the fantasy, of course, I haven't been reading much fantasy at all lately, but of the ones that I have read have been YA. And I don't know, there's something much more approachable about a YA fantasy than an adult fantasy. I would say I have an interest in Wheel of Time, but I don't have the motivation to actually pick that up because then I know I'd have what is it? There's 20 books in that series or something crazy that I'm not gonna devote that much time to. And a lot of adult fantasy Wheel of Time or Brandon Sanderson or who else? Some of those big ones, I'm just too intimidated to even start. I do want to eventually read some Brandon Sanderson, and I have the first book in Mistborn series, but I haven't gotten to it. I'm really intimidated. I just know it's gonna take a whole first book to get me invested at all, and I can't push myself to pull myself through that first book in order to get to the place that I want to read more. It just doesn't make sense to me in my head. But, you know, one day I might do that. Okay, yeah, last question, number 8. A book or a new release that you have no interest in reading. Oh, you know what it is? Malibu Rising. I do not want to read Malibu Rising. I'm sorry, I just don't want to read it. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love her. I've read at least 2 of her books. 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. Loved them both. I have zero interest in reading Malibu Rising. Just none whatsoever. I don't want to read it. I'm not interested. I have nothing about it intrigues me. So yeah, that's not going to happen. Those are all of the questions. I don't know how successful this was. I don't know what to even think about this video because I feel icky inside right now. I feel icky inside, like I've just been shitting on books for no reason and except for to give you all content. So On that note, I do want to say, and I probably should have said this up front, but I don't really tend to acknowledge my subscriber count, but I've just hit 1,000 subscribers. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who are watching my videos, who are supporting me. It really does mean so much to me that I've made it this far even, that I've gotten this amount of people that watch the videos that I make. Like, it's so weird for me to think of when I first started this channel and I didn't know, like, I was just so afraid to even put myself out there, to do it at all. And I had no expectation of what was going to come of this, or of that anyone would even want to listen to anything that I had to say. And so the fact that I've had 1,000 subs is just like, it's so validating for all of the work that I've put into this channel over the last almost year. And it makes me feel, it encourages me. It's very encouraging. And I just want to thank you guys so much for that. Yeah, so thank you. But anyway, that being said, that's going to be it for today. I appreciate you guys. I really, really, really do. Thank you for being there. Thank you for supporting me. You're the best. You really are. And I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget, life is short. So Ray Riley. Where's my cheers? Where's my cheers? Cheers!